You didn't lose them on the day they walked away. You began to lose yourself the moment you started doubting your own worth. Because when someone leaves you behind, the pain isn't just in their absence, it's in the silence that follows. The message that never comes, the question that echoes in your mind, what did I do wrong? You replay old conversations, you analyze every detail, every gesture, every word you wish had been different. And without realizing it, you enter a dangerous state, trying to prove that you deserve to be chosen. This is where almost everyone makes the same mistake. People explain too much. They try to fix what was already decided. They try to convince someone who emotionally has already left. But there is a hard and liberating truth that few are willing to accept. The moment you beg for validation, you give up your power. Stoicism calls this the loss of inner control. When your emotions depend on someone else's decision, you stop being free. That's why reacting impulsively never works. Long messages, attempts to reach out, silence used as an emotional tactic. None of this creates respect. None of this builds value. Stoicism teaches a different path, a silent one, firm, unshakable. There is an inner shift that completely changes the dynamic. No explanations, no dramatic goodbyes, no need to be understood. A shift so deep that the person who left begins to feel something unexpected. The weight of your absence. Not because you disappeared from the world, but because you stopped chasing someone who didn't choose to stay. And throughout this video, you'll learn how to apply this principle in real life. Not to manipulate, not to provoke, but to reclaim control over yourself. Because from this point on, two outcomes always appear. Either they begin to question their decision to leave, or you realize you no longer need their return to feel at peace. And that is the real turning point. If you recognized yourself in any of this, stay with me. Because in the next part, you'll understand why emotional reactions only make the loss feel heavier than it truly is. After someone walks away, the pain doesn't disappear. It simply changes its shape. At first there is shock, a sense of emptiness. Your body keeps moving through routine, but your mind stays behind. Over time, shock turns into hope, a quiet, almost involuntary hope, the idea that maybe there's still something unresolved. And without noticing, that hope slowly turns into anxiety. You start waiting for signs, an unexpected message, a late-night notification, any small gesture that could be interpreted as interest. Your mind enters a constant state of alert. Every notification makes your heart race. Every silence feels like a final answer. The problem is not feeling pain. The problem is when pain begins to control your decisions. Stoicism teaches that suffering doesn't come from events themselves, but from the meaning we attach to them. And the most common meaning after abandonment is this: if I had been different, this wouldn't have happened. That story creates guilt. It creates attachment. It creates an endless need to fix the past. Meanwhile, the person who left keeps moving forward. Not because they never cared, but because they're no longer trapped in the same emotional battle. And here, a deep imbalance appears. One side keeps living in the past. The other has already stepped into the present. When you stay trapped in waiting, you freeze your own life. You delay decisions. You avoid change. You live in anticipation of something that may never happen. And the longer this lasts, the more invisible you begin to feel. Not because you lack value, but because all your energy is directed outward. Stoicism offers a silent and powerful shift, bringing your attention back to where it always belonged, to what is within your control. It's not about denying emotions or pretending it doesn't hurt. It's about refusing to let pain define who you become, because while you wait for an external sign, your inner power stays forgotten. And this is the pain almost no one recognizes. Not the pain of being left behind, but the pain of abandoning yourself in the process. If you've ever found yourself stuck in this cycle, stay with me, because in the next part we'll uncover the mistake that makes people lose respect precisely when they try to reconnect. After the initial pain and the period of waiting, the most dangerous temptation arises, the urge to reconnect the wrong way. This is the point where many people believe they are being mature, when in reality, they are reinforcing the distance. They write long, carefully crafted messages. They over-explain their feelings. They reopen old conversations, believing that emotional clarity will rebuild the connection. But the effect is almost always the opposite. When someone has already decided to leave, explanations do not bring relief. They create pressure. Every emotionally charged attempt to reach out sends a silent message. I still need you to confirm my value. And on a deeper level, this completely changes the dynamic between you. Stoicism teaches that respect doesn't come from insistence. Respect comes from your stance. The more you try to convince someone of your value, the less that value is perceived. Not because you aren't enough, But because true value is never announced, it is sustained through behavior. This is the mistake that pushes them away for good, reacting from a place of emotional need, impulsive messages sent in the heat of the moment, silence used as a tactic to provoke a response, actions calculated only to grab attention. All of this communicates emotional instability, and where there is instability, there is no security, and where there is no security, respect dissolves. Stoicism offers a clear break from this destructive pattern. It's not about wounded pride or artificial coldness. It's about awareness. The moment you stop this cycle, something fundamental happens. You stop negotiating your own value. You stop over-explaining to someone who never asked. You stop diminishing yourself to fit into someone else's choice. And this shift, though silent, is deeply felt. Because when you stop reacting out of need, you start acting from dignity, and that changes completely how you are perceived, regardless of whether they come back or not. If you recognize this pattern in yourself, stay with me, because in the next part, we'll reveal the Stoic principle that sustains this stance and transforms the entire emotional dynamic. There is a principle, simple yet incredibly powerful, that can completely change the way you are perceived. The principle of silent self-mastery. It doesn't rely on messages, long explanations, or emotional maneuvers. It relies solely on you, your mind, your attention, and your stance. When you stop reacting to every impulse, when you are no longer a prisoner of needing validation, something profound happens. You become stable. A calm and strong presence, even amid emotional chaos, and stability is invisibly powerful. It doesn't need to be announced. Respect arises naturally. Curiosity emerges on its own. Without any effort, the perception of who you are changes. This principle is simple to understand, but it requires discipline. It's not about denying emotions or pretending to be cold. It's about controlling your responses, choosing where to place your energy, and refusing to be dragged by external expectations. When you truly embody this, something surprising happens. The person who left begins to feel the effect of your change without you saying a word. Not through manipulation, not through strategy, but because a centered and silent life communicates value that words never could. Most importantly, you are no longer living to please or win back someone who has already left. You are living for yourself, for your purpose, for your emotional stability, and that is real strength. Stoicism shows that the greatest attraction doesn't come from those who beg to be noticed. It comes from those who live with purpose, self-control, and grounded presence. It comes from those who silently demonstrate that their value doesn't depend on anyone's approval. And when you adopt this principle, two things inevitably happen. The person who left may return, respecting the new stance you have built, or you realize you no longer need them to come back, because your value doesn't depend on anyone else's choice. And in either case, the victory is yours. No drama, no need to explain anything. Only clarity, silent strength, and emotional freedom. If you want to learn how to apply this principle in real life and completely transform your relationships, effortlessly and without drama, stay with me. Because in the next part, we'll see exactly how to live this every day, step by step, naturally and powerfully. Now that you understand the power of silent self-mastery, the most important question arises: how do you apply this in real life, consistently and effectively, every single day? The first step is simple, but it requires discipline. Stop reacting impulsively. Every message sent in the heat of the moment, every emotionally charged attempt to reconnect, every effort to prove your worth, weakens your presence. Before acting, take a deep breath. Before responding, ask yourself, does this action show strength or neediness? If the answer is neediness, do nothing. Learning to remain silent is, in fact, the ultimate demonstration of self-control. The second step is focus only on what depends on you. Do not waste energy trying to control someone else's choices. Control your routine, your purpose, your mind, and your emotions. Invest in activities that strengthen you, physically, mentally, and emotionally. A life full of purpose and action transforms your absence into silent presence. It makes those on the outside feel the impact of your growth, without you having to explain or prove anything. The third step is practice strategic silence, not as manipulation or an emotional game, but as an expression of stability and balance. Silence conveys value when you are centered, when your life continues fully regardless of someone's presence or absence. It is the opposite of drama, pressure, or desperate need for attention. The fourth step is constantly refine your mind. Read, reflect, study philosophy, Stoicism, psychology. The more centered, conscious, and disciplined you become, the more naturally others will recognize your value without you having to proclaim it. Respect and admiration arise from consistency, not words. The fifth step is observe the results without attachment. If the person who left comes back, great. Now there is respect and equality in the relationship. If they don't return, that's great too, because you no longer rely on anyone's approval or attention to feel complete. This internal freedom transforms your life and redefines how you relate to the world. When you live this way every day, something incredible happens. Your value doesn't need to be proven. It manifests naturally through who you have become, your presence, consistency, and silent strength. And this is true Stoic freedom, the freedom of not depending on anyone else to feel whole. If you want to master this practice, make it part of your daily life, and transform your life silently, stay with me. Because in the next part, we'll explore how this mindset not only changes your relationships, but how you feel about yourself, raising your inner value to a level no one can ignore. When you apply everything discussed so far with consistency, silence, and discipline, something inevitable begins to happen. The dynamic changes, not because you tried to change someone else, but because you changed how you stand in the world. Most people believe power comes from convincing, insisting, or proving their worth. Stoicism teaches the opposite. True power is born when you withdraw your energy from what does not choose you. And when this happens, life offers only two possible outcomes, and both are victories. The first outcome is when the person who left you begins to feel the weight of your real absence. Not a dramatic absence filled with indirect messages or emotional reactions, but a mature, quiet, dignified absence. One that does not demand, accuse, or beg. They begin to notice that your life did not stop, that you did not become stuck in the past, that you did not turn bitter or resentful. And this creates a powerful internal discomfort, because the human ego expects pursuit. It expects visible suffering. It expects signs of emotional dependence. When none of that appears, doubt takes over. Did I underestimate this person? Were they stronger than I thought? Did I lose something that won't come back the same? That is when subtle movements begin to surface. Likes without context, neutral messages, casual attempts at conversation, not driven by immediate love, but because calm, confident silence wounds the ego more than emotional confrontation ever could. The second outcome, and the most profound one, happens inside you. It's when no one comes back and you no longer need anyone to, and this is the real turning point. You wake up feeling lighter. You breathe more freely. You make decisions with clarity. The pain that once felt unbearable becomes nothing more than a distant memory. Not because you defeated someone, but because you stopped abandoning yourself to keep someone else. At this stage, something essential changes. You understand that your peace cannot be negotiated, that your dignity is not an emotional bargaining chip, and that love requiring self-erasure is not love. It is dependence. This is where true Stoic freedom is born. You no longer live reacting. You choose. You no longer chase. You walk at your own pace. And here comes the final irony. When you reach this level of balance, someone's return stops being a goal and becomes merely an option. You don't close doors out of wounded pride, but you also don't reopen them out of neediness. You observe. You assess. You decide with calm strength. And then you realize the truth that changes everything. The goal was never to make someone beg to come back. The goal was always to no longer need that to feel whole. Those who master their emotions do not lose people. They lose only the need to be validated by them. And when you become whole, no one leaves you behind anymore, because you never abandon yourself again. There is a quiet moment, almost invisible to the world, when you realize that something has permanently shifted inside you. It is not when someone returns. It is not when your phone vibrates. It is when you understand, with calm clarity, that absence no longer controls you. This is the true turning point. You did not become cold. You did not harden your heart. You simply stopped giving your value to those who were not ready to recognize it. Here, Stoicism stops being theory and becomes a way of life. You begin to act without urgency, respond without anxiety, stay silent without guilt, remain present without fear of being forgotten. The greatest transformation happens internally. You stop measuring your worth by someone else's attention. You stop interpreting distance as personal rejection. You stop confusing attachment with real love. Now you choose yourself with serenity, and that choice changes everything. Your presence becomes steadier, your gaze calmer, your words more intentional, your silence more respected. People feel this shift before they can explain it, because you no longer over-explain. You no longer justify yourself. You no longer bargain with your emotional dignity. You become rare because you are not available for shallow connections. You become memorable because you don't force closeness. You become respected because you know how to leave without creating chaos. Those who left you behind realize it too late. They didn't lose someone who would beg for attention. They lost someone who grew while remaining silent. And here is a deep truth. No one becomes unforgettable by trying to stay. Someone becomes unforgettable when they learn to leave whole. You don't need to disappear to be remembered. You need to live with coherence, purpose, and self-respect. When you reach this level, everything changes. The relationships you accept, the conversations you maintain, and the kind of people who walk beside you. You stop attracting from neediness and begin attracting from stability. You no longer connect out of fear of loss, but from the freedom of choice. This is the silent victory of Stoicism, not about making someone come back, but about never losing yourself again trying to be chosen. And when you become whole, the world sees you as someone who cannot be easily replaced. If you've made it this far, it's because something inside you has already begun to shift, and this must be said clearly. This video was never about getting someone back. It was never about emotionally winning against someone else. This video was always about coming back to yourself. The pain of being left behind isn't just the absence of someone. It's the inner silence that appears when you begin to question your own worth, when you wonder what you did wrong, when you try to be more, do more, accept less, just to keep someone from leaving. Stoicism cuts through this illusion at the root. It reminds us that we do not control who stays. We do not control who leaves. We do not control other people's feelings. But we do control something infinitely more powerful, our posture in the face of loss. And that is where everything changes. When you stop chasing, it isn't giving up, it's dignity. When you stop explaining yourself, it isn't pride, it's clarity. When you choose the right kind of silence, it isn't weakness, it's self-mastery. The greatest emotional trap is believing we need to be chosen in order to have value. That belief makes incredible people shrink themselves. It makes sincere hearts accept crumbs. It makes strong souls lose themselves trying to please. But the truth is simple and liberating. Those who know themselves do not beg for presents. When you choose yourself, something reorganizes inside you. Your breathing becomes lighter. Your decisions become firmer. Your gaze becomes calmer. You begin to understand that love is not constant anxiety. That true connection does not require self-erasure. That those who want to stay, stay. Without games, without pressure, without fear. And then you realize, some people will miss you, others will move on, and neither of those outcomes defines who you are anymore. This is the central moral of this message, and it changes everything. Those who learn to value themselves never accept being an option again. You don't need to prove anything. You don't need to compete with anyone. You don't need to beg for attention. Silence aligned with purpose. Posture aligned with self-respect. And the daily choice of yourself. Do more than any emotional speech ever could. Maybe someone comes back. Maybe no one does. But now that no longer decides your peace. If someone returns, it will be to add to your life. Because you no longer accept less than reciprocity. If no one returns, you will move forward whole. Because you learned not to abandon yourself for anyone. This is Stoicism applied to real life. Not to harden the heart, but to strengthen it. Not to push people away, but to attract relationships that respect who you have become. And when you truly understand this, something ends inside you. The need for approval, the fear of being left, the urgency to be chosen. And in its place, something far more solid is born. Inner peace, emotional clarity, and self-respect. This is the real return, not of someone else, but of you back to yourself. If this message brought you clarity, strength, or relief, stay with the channel. The next video will show how to live this mindset daily, so you never lose yourself again trying to be valued by someone else. Remember this truth. Those who choose themselves never beg to be chosen.